This video is a continuation of our tour of Croatia on a small ship down through the various old cities of Croatia. On this slide you can see the cities that we're going to cover in this video, the small ship moving down to each of those cities. Just a wonderful cruise, a wonderful ship, and a great trip that we had. Here we see St. Michael's Fortress standing high above the old city of Sibenik. Sibenik was mentioned for the first time under its present name in 1066. We took a long hike up to the St. Michael's Fortress above the city. Getting there, we found that it was hosting a special event for the evening, and we were not able to go inside. We didn't realize at the time that the interior has been converted to an open-air summer stage, as you can see on the right photo. The view from the fortress was spectacular, and it was getting darker, and we were a long way up above the city, so we had to work our way back down, almost getting dark. We found this local restaurant where we had a wonderful meal, and it became obvious that it was where many of the locals went when they wanted to go to a restaurant. And a couple of views of the cities down below the fortress is getting close to nightfall. Trogir, Croatia, has been included in the UNESCO list of World Heritage Sites since 1997 for its Venetian architecture. In the 3rd century BC, Trogir was found by the Greek colonists and developed into a major port. I've plotted a red dot there by the fort that would be visited, and you can see to the left of that where the cruise ships dock. Camerlengo Castle was built by the Venetians in around 1420. This fortress was once connected to the city walls. Inside it is basically an empty shell, but we were able to climb up and circle the walls and look back at the docking area. That's our cruise boat there on the right of the bottom photo. These are some of the street scenes in the city of Trogir. Wonderful old stone pavement streets. The history of the city of Split goes all the way back to the Roman Empire. In the 4th century AD, the Roman Emperor Diocletian wanted to retire in his native city of Split, so he built a huge palace here. He ruled the empire from 284 to 305. Eventually, the palace was abandoned, and over the centuries, the ruined palace had many destructive occupants. To this day, 2,000 people live or work inside the former palace walls. It is home to boutiques, galleries, cafes, and even apartments. So in the photos you can see on the left what it is today, and on the right what it was when Diocletian had it finished. This is a photo of approaching the palace today. Much of what you see did not exist when the palace was built. In the center you see a very tiny entrance. This was actually the back door of the palace, and all of this pavement did not exist. Water was right up to this entrance. The palace was more than 600 feet long on each side. It took only 11 years to build, and it is estimated that more than 2,000 slaves died during the construction. We entered the palace complex, and apparently we entered in the area of the cellars. Today, the inside area was a maze of souvenir shops. According to a guidebook, this area had been filled with garbage and sewage from the centuries of people living above the cellars. The area was cleaned out only in the last century. You can see remains of what is called a petrified wooden beam that was used across the area to support a floor above. Castle interior photos. On the upper left, you can see the remains of a Roman mosaic floor tile. And on the right, the bottom, you see an ancient freshwater spring still bringing up water. On the left, this black sphinx is the only one of Diocletian's collection of 13 that is still mostly intact. And on the right, this fountain, we are told that the water for this fountain comes from a mountain range by one of 3 remaining Roman aqueducts in Europe. This photo is of the peristyle. This square was the centerpiece of the palace. There are several red granite pillars that you can see there on the left wall that were from Egypt. If you look close, you will see red cushions on the steps. These belong to a bar that is situated there. If you want to sit on one of the cushions, you have to buy a drink. People are actually living in houses and apartments that have been built inside the walls of the palace. It is evident that for centuries the structure was not thought to have any significance for preservation. Windows and openings have been filled in, shutters have been added, plants in the windows. People are actually living behind these walls. This is a UNESCO site, and it is the only currently inhabited Roman ruin. Here we exited the walled palace through what would have originally been the front door, and today guarded by Roman soldiers. This large statue is Bishop Gregory of Nin, a 10th century Croatian priest who tried to convince the Vatican to allow sermons during Mass to be said in Croatian rather than Latin. People rub his toe for good luck. Hvar is pronounced somewhat like it is spelled, with the H almost silent. The ancient Greeks founded the colony in 384 BC, making it one of the oldest towns in Europe. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Hvar seems to have become the destination for the rich and famous. There are many yachts in the harbor. We hiked up to the Hvar fortress, which was constructed between the 13th century and the 14th century. It actually has a Spanish nickname, Spanhola. There are two walls leading up to the fortress. In early times, the elite lived between the walls and were protected by the fortress, while the lower classes lived outside of the walls. This is our ship, the small ship Charisma, a capacity of 36 to 38 guests and a crew of 8 to 10. The view from the fortress is outstanding. These are street scenes in Hvar, except for the center one, and that's the dungeon area of the fortress. Korcula was founded by the Greeks, perhaps in the 3rd century BC. It became part of the Roman Empire and was eventually a key southern outpost of the Venetian Republic for 4 centuries. A unique thing we learned about Korcula is how the streets were laid out. In the photo on the right, you can see that there is a main street running north and south, and streets going west and east from the center. The streets going west are straight to allow the refreshing northwesterly winds into the town. The streets going east are curved to keep out the bad southeasterly winds. Between the streets, they were allowed 2 buildings, so that each house would have access to shade or breeze from the street between. Here you see on the left the 2 houses that are between the streets, and on the right, if a resident was able to own a house on the other side of the street, he was able to build a sky bridge across the street. And you can see that this street curves a little bit. In Korcula, we learned about these protrusions on each side of the windows with the holes. A pole would be placed through these holes, and cloth would be hung on the poles and kept wet so that the breeze would flow through the wet cloth and into the house. The original swamp cooler. Korcula's favorite son is the 13th century explorer Marco Polo. Marco Polo was the first Westerner to chronicle his travels to China. He brought back amazing stories and exotic goods like silk that Europeans had never seen before. After his trip, Marco Polo fought in an important naval battle against the Genoese near Korcula in 1298. He was captured, taken to Genoa, and imprisoned. He told his story to a cellmate who wrote it down, published it, and made the explorer a world-class and much-in-demand celebrity. This is believed to be the property of Marco Polo's family. It appears to be undergoing some refurbishing. When we were there, the house was being renovated. The smaller picture was taken from the internet. On our arrival in Korcula, this troupe came on board and provided us with a wonderful concert, beautiful harmony.
To je bilo na Sloveniji, izašla je iz gore, namrja se namrja. Izašla je iz gore. Ubili magačama, tukaju ješakama, namrja se, tukaju ješakama. I reče joj, pomalo daj to ribe ovamo. Namrja se namrja, daj to ribe ovamo. Namrja se namrja, a kako ću moju re, prodala sam svoju je. Namrja se namrja, prodala sam svoju je. Prodala sam ti koze, a prodat ću i loze. Namrja se namrja, a prodat ću i loze. Prodala sam postelju, sad ležim na škamelu. Namrja se namrja, sad ležim na škamelu. Ma sve proda, ima dana u Boga. Namrja se namrja, ima dana u Boga.
Leaving Korcula, we were on our way to Mljet National Park. The island of Mljet is 23 miles long and less than 2 miles wide. The national park occupies the western third of the island. The park features a pair of adjoining lakes, actually large saltwater lagoons fed by canals from the Adriatic, called Great Lake and Small Lake. These two bodies of water meet at the small bridge. In the middle of the Great Lakes sits the island of St. Mary. This is water flowing between the two lakes here in this right-hand photo. The following is per Rick Steves. It is believed by some that the Apostle Paul was shipwrecked on an island called Mljet. While on the island, Paul was bitten by a deadly snake. This event has long been believed to have happened on the similarly named island of Malta in the Mediterranean Sea. But more recently, many historians began to believe that Paul was on Mljet. The most convincing argument, Malta never had poisonous snakes. Mljet no longer does either. The Habsburgs imported an army of Indian mongooses to rid the island of snakes. On our way now to the last stop, that being Dubrovnik, and along the way we had an opportunity to swim in the Adriatic Sea, so we took this opportunity. The water was wonderful, probably about 75 degrees. This was our second visit to Dubrovnik. We had one night in a new, beautiful resort hotel and 2 nights in an apartment inside the old city walls. While we enjoyed the second visit, we found that June is not the time to be there. The lower part of almost every photo is filled with tourists. There was a special bowling tournament going on in Dubrovnik. This is bocce ball. We heard the announcer say that there were 4 world-class participants there. It appeared that they would toss a heavy ball and attempted to knock the white ball out of the field without moving the red balls. The photo on the upper left is looking down from the wall of Dubrovnik at our apartment house. Our apartment was on the 3rd floor. We entered on the ground floor and went up the stairs to the door on the 2nd level, and then climbed the stairs inside to the 3rd level. It was very nice, but it was on the 3rd floor on the highest street in the city. Dubrovnik was just as beautiful the second time. It seems, though, that we learned that a second visit to these old cities is just not the same as the first time. I think it is because on a first visit there is a sense of exploring, seeing, and experiencing something new. The second visit is just not the same. This is the first view that you get from the walk around the wall. We've come to the end of our cruise in Croatia. Would highly recommend a small ship cruise on the coast of Croatia. So much history, so many wonderful things to see. Hope you enjoyed it, and perhaps we'll see you on another journey.